In this second part of my Azon Exit Cache exit pages training, I want to teach you about creating custom exit pages. You can truly use this plugin to create any kind of an exit page you want. But for the average Amazon affiliate, the most common kind of exit page that you would likely want to create, besides one filled with Amazon ads, would be for a newsletter sign-up form. So I'm going to be teaching you exactly how to do that today. And I'm also going to be providing you with some code generators that you can use to actually avoid any knowledge of CSS or HTML coding to actually get this to work. So before I actually go on to show you how to create the newsletter exit page, I want to begin with creating a customized header for an exit page. And then we'll get a little more complicated and create the full newsletter page. So to show you what I'm talking about before I proceed, I'm going to preview this IKEA exit page that I just created in the first part. You see this image up at the top here? This is obviously an image file and not text that is printed on my screen because I can't drag and select the individual words. I only select the entire image. Well, this is obviously geared towards Amazon ads being on this exit page. So if you are creating any kind of an exit page that does not use Amazon ads on it, you are not going to want to use this default header image. So I'm going to be teaching you how you can replace this header image with text that essentially says the same thing, except you now get to choose exactly what it says. So to accomplish this, there are two things that I need to do. All the way down in the advanced options, I first need to remove the weight image. And then I need to provide some HTML and CSS coding in this top HTML code box that will replace that header image. So I actually have a page for you guys that is going to generate this code for you. Now you have two different options. One is to provide your own text in the form of the header title, which would be the large weight word in red letters, and then the header description, which would be all the black text down below the red header title. But then if you had a custom image that you wanted to use up there instead of providing your own text, you can use this bottom option here, which would just be to provide the URL of that image that you want to show up there. Well, I am more interested here in creating my own. So I'm going to put in weight in all capital letters with an exclamation point at the end of it. And then for my header description, I can type in anything that I want to. But just to show you, I'm going to do the exact same thing that is already on here, just so you can see the minor difference that you're going to have going from this image to the text. So I'm going to say we have some great deals for you on Amazon before you go. So all I have to do is provide my title and my description or an image URL. It's not going to do both. And then I simply click on the Generate button down below. So now this box right here contains all of the code that I need to enter. So I need to make sure I select everything in this entire box. So I right-click and do Select All, and then I right-click and copy. Now I can go back to my exit page, remove the weight image, and paste this in as my top HTML code. And you don't have to do anything else to it. This code generator will handle everything for you. So you just click on Save, and then you can go and actually preview this. So when I go to preview, you'll see that this basically looks like it did before. I still have my Amazon ads, I still have my weight text up at the top, except now this is no longer an image. This is actually text that is displayed on my screen. So I could have made this say anything that I wanted it to. Now you will notice that with the black text down below, it may not exactly line up quite how it was with the original image. There might be some instances where you have only a couple of words down on one line and the rest of it is all up above. You can actually force this bottom paragraph here to be broken into different lines exactly where you want it to do so. All you would really have to do, for example, if I wanted, let's see where the original one breaks. This is the actual image. Here it ends at deals. And as you can see on the one with the text, it ends after on instead. Well, if I wanted it to end after deals right here, I could do the same thing that I did before. Except right after deals, I can simply put in my own line break. This is a less than symbol, the letters BR, and then a greater than symbol. This is HTML coding, just in case you're not familiar, for creating a new line. So with this one simple addition right here, one other minor difference that I noticed, I had all the words capitalized in the original as well. So now when I generate this again, I can go back to my exit page and simply update my coding. So this should be something especially useful for those of you that are not comfortable actually trying to edit your own HTML code. So now if I go to preview one more time, you can see that this looks almost identical now to how it looked originally, but as I mentioned before, this is actually text now and not an image. So you can see how this one simple exit header page HTML generator here can save you a lot of time and effort putting together these custom exit pages. So now to go another step further with that, we can use that same concept where we have taken the header of this exit page and customized it, But then we can also replace the Amazon ads down at the bottom with anything else. But a newsletter sign-up form will likely be one of the main things that Amazon affiliates are interested in using. You could also do things like asking people to sign up with Facebook fan pages or Facebook groups, or following you on various social media accounts. All that stuff could also be turned into a custom exit page if those happen to be the goals of your website. But for this tutorial, I want to actually show you how to make a newsletter exit page. And even better than that, I have a generator for you. Just like before, we're going to be entering in a header title and a header description. So I can put wait again for my header title. For my header description though, if I'm trying to get people to sign up for a newsletter, I want to say obviously something other than take a look at these great deals that we have, because that just doesn't relate to the newsletter sign-up form. One thing that you can do though is to offer some kind of a free report. You could say, before you go, grab our free report, how to choose the best down comforters. Just enter your email below to claim your copy. So I've done two things here with my header description. You don't have to use one exactly like this, but you are certainly welcome to essentially take what I have just used here and customize it for your own purposes. Number one though, in this first sentence, I am offering an incentive to whoever is viewing this page to actually join my newsletter. I'm not simply saying stay up to date with new posts that are on our website or stuff like that. I'm actually offering them something for free. A free report is usually sufficient enough to at least get some people to join up your newsletter. It definitely does a lot better than simply offering them nothing at all. So, number one, try to offer them some kind of an incentive to join your newsletter. Number two, you want a call to action to get them to join. I say just enter your email below to claim your copy. But you could obviously say a wide variety of different things that all have that same basic meaning to it. Now, down below this, you have your sign-up form HTML code. While this box is looking for a bunch of really complicated HTML and CSS coding, this is not something that you'll have to actually write yourself. Most people use either Aweber or GetResponse for their newsletter marketing. I actually use both. I have accounts with both of them that are active. And so I want to walk you through a quick demonstration of each of these, both Aweber and GetResponse, to give you my recommendations on how to create your sign-up form and then to transfer your HTML over to my code generator. So first of all, I'm on Aweber here. To create a new sign-up form, just go to Sign-up Forms, and then you'll have to click a button to create the new sign-up form, which will land you on this page showing you the default sign-up form template. Well, when you're actually creating this sign-up form, there are a couple of things that you should keep in mind to make it look the best on your exit page. Number one, I would really recommend to stick with a white background for your sign-up form. The only exceptions to that would maybe be sign-up forms that have a background image that is not a big square. I've seen some that use a circle of color, for example, behind the actual sign-up form. Something like that will end up looking okay, but if it's just the box design, I really recommend to stick with the plain white background. Number two, any text that you have, if you see right here where it says name and email, you want this text to be a dark color, preferably black. If you notice here on this default Aweber form, it's actually a gray color. This is really going to show up faded on your exit page if you leave it like this. And also keep in mind the custom header that's going to go up at the top. This is using bright red and a bold black text color. So if you put something light gray down below it, it's really going to fade out compared with your header text. So that's another reason why you really don't want to use this default gray. Now, you can switch to a different form if you would like to, something that already has the black text built into it. I could go with this one, for example. However, I kind of like the original default one that they load up with, simply because your text actually ends up being considerably larger. You can see here this text is a lot larger than it was in the red one that I had switched to there for a moment. So if you want to simply stick with this one, you can edit these individual things. And you can also change the colors. You have a background color and you have your foreground color here. So I could just drag my foreground color down to solid black. You should see 6 zeros right here. Oops, I'm not even on the correct thing here. I want to be on labels. There we go. Labels changes, and you have a number of other aspects that you can change, like the inputs will also likely be set to the same color. So now when people type in, they'll be typing in black instead of a faded out gray. Now you can do things up here with your labels, for example, which would be here and here. You can change the text size if you happen to find a different one that you like better. I like sticking with the 24 pixel though for my labels. So now, in addition to the two other things that I've mentioned, the white background and setting black text for your labels, the next thing that I recommend to do is to actually wipe out some sections of this form. If you see right here, when you hover over different areas, there's a little red X that shows up off to the side. I want to actually hover over the footer and X this out, and over the powered by statement and X this out. I like keeping the email privacy statement though. And then I'm also going to X out the header. And this can be a matter of personal preference, but you'll get better sign-up rates in terms of the people that see this form compared with the number of people that actually fill it out and submit it. You'll get better rates if you also wipe out the name, so you're only left with people putting in their email address and clicking on a button. Now there's one final thing that is optional to do, and that is to mess with the button. You can click on Edit and simply change the text of your sign up button in a lot of cases. This particular one doesn't actually look to be editable in terms of the text that is there. And sometimes sign up is not quite the right terminology that you want to be using. So one thing that I actually like to do is to customize my newsletter form buttons. And not just by changing the text, but actually by replacing the image that is being used. If you click Edit here for the button, and there's not an option to edit this sign up text, then this entire thing is an image. What you can do is actually go up here to where it says Advanced and expand this. This is the background image for that button. If you clear it out, you can then edit the text. However, it obviously changed the look of it. So something that you can also do is to provide your own. Now, I have this instant access button that you can see right here. I'm providing this image for you guys to download so you can actually use this, because this is one of my preferred buttons to use. So by simply putting in the button image URL up here, it gets replaced down below in your form. So you can see what your form is going to look like now. It's very basic, but to the point. You have your email address, you have a button to click that says Get Instant Access. It's a lot more appealing than having a plain gray button that says Sign Up. So when you get to this point, you can then proceed on to step number 2. Step number 2 in Aweber, you're just going to be naming your form here up at the top. I'll just call this Comforters. Now you also have some other options. Facebook integration. This is appealing to try to use, but I would really recommend to leave this off unless you happen to know that you have a large audience of Facebook users. But even so, the Facebook integration here is it's just not as user-friendly as the actual normal HTML sign-up form. So even if you had a huge Facebook audience, I would still recommend to avoid using that. Now, depending on how you have your newsletter set up, this tutorial is not really intended to teach you all about setting up everything that goes along with the newsletter. You have your auto response broadcasts that go out after somebody signs up, where you can include a download link in that for them to access whatever freebie it is that you offered them. But you can actually completely avoid a welcome email if you want to, and do something like entering in a custom page. And then this URL could be a URL on my website that contains whatever it was I was offering them as an incentive to sign up for. So this makes it a really straightforward process from them entering in their email. They confirm their email address, and then they're automatically taken to the thank you page that gives them that bonus that you offered them for signing up. Since I'm only creating this for the purpose of this tutorial for right now, I'm simply going to leave mine set to the basic version, and I'm just going to proceed on to step number 3. Now at this point, it's going to tell you that you need to save your form. Just click on the green button here, and then it's going to ask you who will publish this form. Click on I will install my form, and then click on raw HTML version. You should see this code down here switch, and up at the top it should say Aweber Web Form Generator 3.0. So now what you want to do is right click, select all, and then right click again and click on copy. So now we're going to take all of this code from our sign up form, and we're going to go back to our newsletter exit page generator and simply paste this code into this bottom box. And we don't have to do anything else to it. Now we just click on the generate button. Then we again select all and copy. And this is going to be the entire code for our newsletter exit page. So I'm going to now create a new exit page. I'll call this newsletter. For now, I'm not going to have this included on any pages of my site, just so I can work with it and see exactly what this is going to look like. The part I really need to worry about setting up is down in the advanced options. I first want to remove my weight image because this is going to have its own header text with it. I also want to modify my exit message because this no longer has to do with Amazon. So I can kind of use the same type of message here that I used originally, but more so with the bonus incentive offer part of it. So I'll say, before you go, grab our free report, how to choose the best down comforter. And I'll just leave it at that. I'm not going to put in the just enter your email below part because that's not going to be showing up in the same area as this exit message. This is on that screen that says leave page or stay on page, or at least with browsers besides Firefox. So now the really important part is, again, that HTML code that we generated. We want to copy it and paste it, and it can actually go into either one of these boxes, the top or the bottom, since we're not going to have any Amazon ads on this page. So all we did here was provide an exit page name, remove the weight image, customize our exit message, and then provide the generated HTML code. And once I wanted it to show up actually on my live website, then I would include some exit page rules as well. So now I'm going to save my exit page. And once it is saved, I can go over here and click on the preview button to see exactly what this will look like on my live website. So as you can see here, I now have my custom header that is the text that I entered before. I used a little basic HTML coding on my title. I just put a less than sign and the letter U and the greater than sign before it to start the underline, and then I do the same thing at the end, except the U is actually having a / in front of it. I can show you right here. Before you go, grab our free report, how to choose the best down comforter. You can see the less than and a U and a greater than before it, and at the end a less than, a / and then a U and then a greater than, and that will close the underline. So everything between these tags will get underlined like you see here. Just some very basic HTML coding. You can do anything like that that you would like to customize the way this actually looks. So now people just simply see the message to enter their email below. They can type their email address in right here, click on the Get Instant Access button, and they'll be signed up for your newsletter and taken along to the next step in the process, whatever that is that you have set up for them. So now, if you use GetResponse instead of Aweber, this basically works the same way. You have a web form thing up here. You go to Create New, and this will land you on this page to create the default web form. Again, I recommend all of the same type of stuff that I recommended the first time around. Remove the header, the footer, the name, the powered by statement, so that just leaves you with these three basic parts. I also recommend clearing out the background, setting it as white. So you can go up here to Body and select Background. You can see it's kind of on a gray color for the default form. If you drag it all the way up in the top left where you're getting 6 Fs for this code right here, then that will change it to white. Then you can also do the same kind of things that we did previously. For our labels, if you click on this, up here it'll say Labels. You can change your font size, make it a little bigger. You can resize the box a little bit. This default one is a little small for the exit page that we're going to use, so I like to stretch it out a little more. And then we also have our button right here. If you click on Edit for this button, you can see that it will allow you to actually edit the text on this. So if you wanted to simply enter in something like Get Instant Access here, you can do that if you would like. But if you wanted to use this image, you can still do that in GetResponse. It's just a little harder to kind of find the right place. You're still clicking right here on the button. Then you're going up here and you're still clicking on the Show Advanced area. And this background image, it's a little confusing that it says background image, but it's talking about the background image of this actual button. This blue part is an image. So you can actually change that by replacing this background image here with your own URL. But now notice a couple of things that have happened. Number one, I can't see the whole image. Number two, I still have the text over top of it. And number three, there's a blue background right here. So I need to actually adjust these three different things. One other thing I would recommend to do is set your image to no repeat. If it's on repeat, depending on the size of your image, you may actually end up seeing more than one copy of it. So now the first thing I need to do, this whole image is not even being displayed. And that is because there is a width and a height specified up above. If I go to my image that I want to use, if I look at the dimensions for it, 253 by 88, that is exactly what I want to set right here. So I'll go 253, and for my height, I will do 88. Now you can see my entire image is actually being displayed. So that problem is taken care of. Next, I need to get rid of the white text that I had customized. All you have to do is just clear out the text for that label. You don't need anything for the label at all. So now to get rid of this blue background image, I click on this area again. I click on Show Advanced, and then right here where it says Background, I want to change this to white and click on Apply. Now you can see that this looks essentially just like it did the first time around with my Aweber form that I created. So I can now proceed through just like I did with Aweber and finish creating my form. I can give it a custom name if I want to. And you really have the same options here. They still have a subscription via Facebook, which I had talked about with Aweber. Same thing kind of applies here. You also have the thank you page, where you have the default thank you page, but then you can also set your own URL if you would prefer to set it up that way. Once you get to this final publishing step, you want to click on Show HTML Code right here, and then you want to right-click Select All, right-click and Copy, so you're copying all of this code, and this would be the code that you use for the sign-up exit page generator. You punch that in the bottom box. Everything else works just like it did when you were creating the form for Aweber. I'll pull my original text out of here for my header description and generate this one more time. Select all and copy. I'm going to go back to the same newsletter that I had previously created, and I'm going to replace my code with this new GetResponse code just so you can see both of them. So now if I go and preview my new newsletter sign-up form, you can see it basically looks just like my first one, except now this is using a GetResponse sign-up box. Now, one final thing that I want to mention to you here before I close this training out is that this top HTML code and bottom HTML code boxes can really be used for any service or website out there that provides you with CSS coding, HTML coding, or even JavaScript coding. You can simply punch that in here. Just to give you an idea of some of the possibilities, things like Facebook, they have retargeting and custom audiences where you can enter in the code that Facebook provides for you, build a custom audience every time somebody sees your exit page. You could target the exit pages to various types of Amazon ads by using Facebook retargeting. Various kinds of tracking, so you could track newsletter signups. All that kind of stuff can be used here. You can even punch in Google Analytics code into these HTML code boxes to track your exit page traffic. So there's all kinds of different possibilities. Any site that provides you with CSS, HTML, or JavaScript, it can all work here. And you can combine that with my customized headers and this code generator to essentially create any kind of exit page you would like.